Hello, my name is Darren Finn, and I'm a councillor with the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. For many years I've been concerned with protection and management of the Exploits River. Beginning in 2004, I became involved as chairperson for the Concerned Citizens Committee for Abitibi, when Abitibi were attempting to develop 66 megawatts of power on the Exploits River in order to offset costs in the steel mill, a $455 million deal with government at the time. Since then, I've campaigned to become a municipal councillor with the expressed opinion that benefits from the Exploits River should be tied to the Grand Falls-Windsor mill, and I have written an energy position statement stating the same for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Obviously now the mill is closed, but I remain focused on the benefits of the Exploits River hydro for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, and I've asked council to write government and request a share of the expropriated hydro revenue for the benefit of our community. So my focus and commitment to hydro have been long established, and I've been consistent in my quest for hydro benefits for our town. The Exploits River is a fabulous natural resource. It's a river that's 110 kilometers long, it's a lake that's 60 kilometers long, and the watershed begins only kilometers from Port aux Basques. I've personally been all around the watershed, so I know intimately about the potential of this natural resource. On one hand, the watershed is largely underdeveloped for its potential for recreation cottages and lodges. On another hand, the Exploits River watershed is highly developed for its hydro, and this occurred over 100 years for the sole purpose of making the mill in Grand Falls-Windsor a viable operation. This brings me to the purpose of this message. I want to provide information to residents about the hydro production that continues after the mill is closed. I want to discuss the value of the hydropower, and I want to outline my position on our historical rights for this power. So how much power is there? Abitibi Bowater operated 17 generators in Grand Falls-Windsor, Bishop Falls, Buckens and Star Lake with a combined maximum output of 110.8 megawatts. Abitibi also receives 4.5 megawatts of free power as compensation for the diversion of water from Victoria Lake to the Bay d'Espoir watershed, and this deal was concluded in the 1960s. In Grand Falls-Windsor there are 2 generators, each producing 30 megawatts and operating at all times, and another 4 generators that are used for peaking power and that have a capacity of 16 megawatts. In Bishop Falls there are 9 generators with a total output of 20 megawatts. In Buckens there is 1 generator with an output of 1.8 megawatts. In Star Lake, 1 generator with an output of 17 megawatts. Also worthy of discussion are 3 other potential hydro projects that people need to be aware of, but it's not likely these will be developed soon according to government. First, the Badger Chute that has a capacity of 24 megawatts, Red Indian Falls a capacity of 42 megawatts, and 4 Mile Pond, 4 miles below Grand Falls-Windsor, that has a capacity of another 23 megawatts. So in short, there is 115.3 megawatts developed and another 89 megawatts undeveloped, and this represents about 8% of the total island hydro generation. So today, in Grand Falls-Windsor, we sit here with a closed paper mill and an economy that's devastated. For certain, the full effects of the closure remain to happen. The paper mill was a $150 million annual operation, and it had $54 million in annual payroll, and the town of Grand Falls-Windsor itself lost 350 full-time high-paid jobs. Another 300 jobs have been lost to several other communities. All of our businesses are now feeling the loss of this money cycle. Housing values will likely be negatively impacted, and the town council will have to address how it will deal with an $805,000 annual loss from its $10 million budget. This is our new reality. With all this loss in Grand Falls-Windsor and the region, we are hurting. And yet the irony is that manufacturing continues in our town, but in the form of hydro generation now. And now rightfully, we must continue our attachment to this power. When Abitibi Bowater built and operated these assets, we received 100% of the benefits because it made the mill a viable operation, and it made it viable for the past 100 years. Now, with government assuming ownership, we can't allow this equation to flip and accept zero benefits from this resource and be treated as any other community because our historical attachment makes us unique, and a unique deal with government is required. Such a deal should include three things: a written commitment to Council on the type of power purchasing deal that would be available to heavy industry that would choose to set up in Grand Falls-Windsor and use our forest resources. In other words, what's our competitive edge over any other community? Secondly, a perpetual grant in lieu of tax agreement replacing our annual $805,000 loss to Council. This grant should also be tied as a percentage to the value of power. Thirdly, a long-term commitment to provide development funds that could be used by the municipality to further our goals in economic development. At this stage, based on public comments, it seems that the community and government need to work through some issues of principle in order to reach a deal. Favorable comments were not received to submissions in the last budget consultations for a share of these hydro revenues, and the same occurred to Council's recent letter to government. It's been suggested that Council's view was parochial, to think that resources should benefit the town of Grand Falls-Windsor more than any other community within the province. Other comparisons have also been drawn, like, what if the province regionalized the Churchill River for Labrador, or if offshore oil was regionalized for St. John's? Would this be unfair to the rest of the province? Well, the answer is yes, it would be unfair, but we're not asking for the resource to be regionalized, and and the point needs to be made that the cases of offshore oil and the Churchill Falls, that the majority of the benefits from these natural resources are accrued in the communities adjacent. In Churchill Falls are the jobs that are related to that resource, and in St. John's are the headquarters for oil and hydro, and so are the jobs and the housing and the corresponding spending. The benefits from these resources are not equally distributed either. I and Council are not asking for the revenue, for all of the revenue that we benefited from in the past, and I understand the point of view of sharing the natural resources across the province. But as a town, we can't accept 100% hydro benefits and go to zero. There has to be some middle ground, and I'm hopeful government will meet us there. Now, with respect to the value of the 110.8 megawatts of power, it's not easy to nail down the value of this power because it seems to depend on some factors. Some government communications have estimated annual revenues at around 13 to 15 million, but I believe this value is conservative. If you look at the savings alone of not burning oil in Holyrood, there is savings to the province of more than 50 million annually when the oil is at $50 per barrel. By comparison, it's been told to me that an 11 megawatt generator, Norris Arm, and owned by Fortis, is able to produce 5.6 million annually in revenue. So perhaps the value of power depends on the customer. In any case, some further analysis and understanding is required here for sure. I want to thank you for listening and caring about the prosperity of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. I ask that you take this information and reach out to all your elected officials who represent you and tell them why this hydro resource is important to you. Thank you again.